Apollo spacesuits returned from the moon with more abrasion damage after 8 hours of lunar surface activity than Earth-based training suits showed after 100+ hours of testing. Because lunar dust isn't rounded by weathering like Earth dirt, it's permanent microscopic broken glass that never dulls. Engineers tested suits for months in simulated environments, dragging them through sand, grinding them against rocks, pushing fabric to its limits. The suits passed. Then astronauts wore them on the moon for a single workday and came back with fabric shredded, fibers separated, holes forming in layers designed to survive micrometeorite strikes. The moon wasn't just harsh, it was actively destroying the best equipment humanity could build. Gene Cernan climbed back into the lunar module after his final moonwalk. Dust clung to everything. Gray powder covered his white suit from boots to shoulders. He bent his knee to step through the hatch and saw the outer fabric near the joint frayed, individual threads separated. The Teflon layer that protected him from temperature swings of 270 degrees, from vacuum, from radiation, was coming apart. 8 hours on the surface. 8 hours of walking, kneeling, collecting samples. That's all it took. Earth-based training suits were used for more than 100 hours. Astronauts practiced in desert sand, simulated lunar terrain, abrasive Earth materials. Those suits came back dirty, scuffed, but intact. The fabric held, the joints flexed without damage. Engineers assumed the moon would be similar, maybe worse, but not catastrophically different. They were wrong. Lunar suits showed damage that looked like months of abuse compressed into a single shift. Post-mission inspections using scanning electron microscopes confirmed what the naked eye suggested. Lunar soil particles had embedded themselves into the Teflon fibers and physically cut them apart, strand by strand. Here's why. Earth has wind, water, atmospheric weathering. Rocks break down into particles, and those particles tumble in rivers, get blown across deserts, freeze and thaw through thousands of seasons. The edges wear down, sharp corners become rounded. By the time a particle of sand reaches your hand, it's been smoothed over millions of years. It's soft, harmless relatively. You can rub beach sand between your fingers and feel nothing but grit. The moon has none of this. No wind to smooth edges, no water to polish surfaces, no atmosphere to buffer anything. Lunar dust forms when meteorites slam into rocks at speeds faster than rifle bullets and shatter them into microscopic fragments. Each fragment is a jagged shard of glass, plagioclase feldspar, pyroxene crystals, glassy agglutinates melted by impact heat and fresh frozen in vacuum. The average particle is about 10 micrometers in diameter, 1/10 the width of a human hair. You can barely see it. Under an electron microscope, it looks like broken glass with razor edges that never dull, because there's nothing to dull them. Worse, these particles are chemically reactive. Billions of years of solar and cosmic radiation exposure create unsatisfied electron bonds on their surfaces. They're electrically sticky. When astronauts walk, dust kicks up. Electrostatic charge makes it cling to fabric, metal, visors, gloves. You can't brush it off. It sticks. And then you move. Flex a knee, rotate a wrist, bend an elbow. Every movement grinds those microscopic glass shards into the fabric weave. Each particle works its way between fibers and saws through them with every motion. The outer Teflon layer on Apollo suits was designed to resist heat that could melt lead, cold that could freeze carbon dioxide solid, and impacts from space debris traveling at orbital speeds. Lunar dust shredded it by making astronauts walk around. You're an Apollo astronaut. First moonwalk complete. Back inside the lunar module, you inspect your suit. Gray staining on the knees. Close inspection shows fraying, minor but visible. Your mission plan has 2 more moonwalks scheduled, 16 more hours on the surface. You have 2 choices: report the damage and request mission abort, come all this way, achieve the moon landing, then turn around because of dust, or accept the wear, continue as planned, and hope the fabric lasts long enough to get you home. You have to decide. Pause. What would you do? Most people choose to continue. So did the astronauts. They accepted the damage. They completed their missions. They gambled that fabric rated for extreme conditions could handle a little more abuse. And they were right. Barely. Suits held together long enough, but post-mission analysis showed the damage was worse than anyone anticipated. Apollo 12 suit examinations revealed clear fiber separation where particles embedded. Apollo 17 suits had penetration damage where dust pushed through the outer layer and damaged cloth underneath. The astronauts survived, but the margin was thinner than mission planners realized. They were betting their lives on fabric integrity, and lunar dust was destroying it faster than Earth-based testing predicted. The difference wasn't small. It was catastrophic in slow motion. One Apollo 12 suit showed wear equivalent to what engineers expected after 300+ hours of use, except it had been on the moon for only 22 hours total across 3 moonwalks. The abrasion rate was more than 10 times higher than simulations predicted. Engineers went back and tested lunar soil samples brought back by Apollo missions. They created sharp-edged simulants to match the particle profiles seen under microscopes. The tests confirmed it. Lunar dust's sharpness, combined with its electrostatic cling and chemical reactivity, made it a material science nightmare. Every time an astronaut moved, thousands of microscopic glass shards embedded in fabric ground against fibers and cut through them. You're designing spacesuits for the Artemis program. The plan is a lunar base with 6-month surface missions. Apollo suits lasted about 24 hours of total lunar surface time before showing critical wear. Your astronauts need to survive on the moon for 180 days. That's 4,320 hours. Do the math before I tell you. How many replacement suits does each astronaut need if the wear rate stays constant? Calculate it now. The answer is 180 suits per astronaut. Even if you improve suit lifespan by 10 times, make them last 240 hours instead of 24, you still need 18 suits per person. Add up the weight, the cost, the storage space inside habitats. It becomes absurd. You can't bring 180 suits. You can't even bring 18. The logistics collapse under their own mass. This is the problem NASA hasn't solved in more than 50 years since Apollo. Lunar dust doesn't just damage equipment, it makes long-term moon presence impossible unless you solve abrasion at a fundamental materials level. Current solutions are incomplete. NASA's testing protective coatings to prevent dust from penetrating fabric weaves. They're developing electrostatic repulsion devices to push charged particles away before they contact suits. Another approach, accept suits as consumables. Design them knowing they'll be destroyed. Plan replacement schedules and build supply chains to deliver new suits regularly. None of these are perfect. Coatings add weight and can crack under temperature extremes. Electrostatic repulsion requires power and doesn't work if dust is already embedded. Treating suits as consumables is expensive and logistically complex for a moon base far from resupply. Here's the counterintuitive part. You're choosing humanity's first permanent off-Earth settlement. 2 options, Moon or Mars. The Moon is closer, 3 days travel versus 6 months. It seems easier, but consider dust. The Moon has no atmosphere. Dust particles stay sharp forever. Mars has a thin atmosphere, enough for wind erosion. Particles on Mars get rounded over time, blown across deserts, smoothed by atmospheric weathering. Which environment is actually easier for long-term equipment survival? Airless Moon or dusty Mars? Think about it before I tell you. Mars wins. The Moon's lack of atmosphere makes it harder for extended presence, not easier. Mars dust is abrasive, yes, but it's been weathered. It has rounded edges. It behaves more like Earth dust than lunar glass shards. The moon's dust will stay sharp for billions of years. There's no process to dull it. Every piece of equipment, every habitat seal, every mechanical joint exposed to lunar surface will face permanent abrasion from microscopic broken glass. This is why some mission planners argue we should skip moon bases and go straight to Mars for long-duration presence. The dust problem is fundamentally worse on the moon, despite being closer to Earth. The irony gets darker. Apollo spacesuits were designed to survive space itself. Temperature swings of 270 degrees Celsius? Check. Micrometeorite impacts? Check. Vacuum exposure? Check. Cosmic radiation? Check. They succeeded. Armstrong's, Aldrin's, and Cernan's suits came home intact. Astronauts survived, missions accomplished. But decades later, those same suits are disintegrating in museum storage on Earth. Humidity corrodes metal components, light breaks down synthetic materials, temperature fluctuations liquefy plasticizers in the rubber layers. The suits that survived the moon are being killed by Earth's atmosphere, the gentlest environment they've ever faced. Meanwhile, the lunar dust that nearly destroyed them during those brief moonwalks remains perfectly preserved on the moon's surface, sharp, abrasive, chemically reactive, waiting. The next generation of astronauts will step onto that surface with new suits, new materials, new coatings, and the dust will start cutting through them exactly the same way it did 50 years ago, because the physics of abrasion doesn't change. Sharp particles wear down softer materials, always. The moon is covered in permanent microscopic broken glass, and we still don't have materials harder than lunar dust or systems that prevent contact entirely. Every mission to the lunar surface is racing against a ticking clock before abrasion renders equipment non-functional. Physics is patient. Lunar dust has been sharp for 4 billion years. It will stay sharp for 4 more. We've had 50 years to engineer solutions. We have coatings that might help, repulsion systems that could work, consumable suit strategies that acknowledge reality, but we don't have a material that survives long-term lunar surface operations without degradation. Until we do, every moon base plan, every extended Artemis mission, every permanent lunar presence proposal runs into the same problem. The ground beneath your feet is trying to saw through everything you're wearing, and it never stops.